So Leucaena or Leucaena, which is heralded as a permaculture wonder tree, and in my language is called a wonderboom, which means a miracle tree. Now this is why my people hate it, because this is what the yards look like. They make a mess. Now we've been harvesting them in Otjavarongo, clearing them. Now this little branch coming out here all the way there, that's maybe about 4 meters. That is a year's growth. And so currently, if you cut that, sorry, let me come back to this. If you cut that, next year you'll have the same amount. So let me show you what we're cutting today. So we are cutting these. Now they haven't been cut in many years, but we're cleaning the yard for these people, and so the branches are quite a lot thicker. Matthias is cutting that, and so for us this is fantastic goat food, and one branch like that is enough to feed all of our goats for the day. So the nutrient value of Leucaena is actually very high. It's got 23% protein, and we feed it to the sheep and the goats, and they recommend that you don't give them more than 50% of their body weight of 50% of their daily intake in weight of Leucaena. Otherwise there's a poison in it that makes them lose their hair, which is obviously not ideal. See, this one is close to falling. Pass up, you come here. It's coming down. Nice. Okay, so then let me show you quickly the green leaves. This is what it looks like. Now the reason why my people hate them, because each one of these pods got almost 20 seeds like that in it, and so when you have a tree in your yard, let me just scan the land here for you quickly. This is what it looks like. Now in town that becomes a big problem, because they grow like crazy. They become weeds. As soon as the rain falls, there's thousands of them that comes up. In nature, however, you will see a little bit later now when I go feed them to the sheep, they love them and everything eats them. Here in Namibia you cannot grow them out in the wild. Everything eats them, so you have to protect them if you grow them for fodder. I plan to plant a hell of a lot on my plot. For the chop and drop properties, they add nitrogen to the soil. It's a fertilizer tree. Basically all the trees that have pods like this adds nitrogen to the soil. As soon as you chop them off, more or less the amount of mass that you chopped off on top will be shed from the roots as well. So all that roots shed into the soil gets cut off, and that's biomass that's then available in the soil. And then little bit, there's a small bacteria that lives on the root, a fungi, mycorrhizal fungi, and they collect nitrogen and they take it from the air, and then they make it available in the roots in little small nodules. So I quickly want to show you as well the amount of wood we gather. On this specific one you can see there's quite a big beam of wood that's gonna come off with this one, and then that can get used either in poles or fences or whichever way. More mana, you like it? And so these are just a year's growth. Let's just step them quickly. So in 1 year, 1, 2, 3, 4 meters of growth has occurred. That one looks like it's 5 meters, and they came from that tree over there. Right, so now that all the smaller branches has been stripped. This is the amount we got off. It will fill up that whole pickup, and so this is then the amount of wood that came from that 2 branches. So the owners asked to keep it. You can see there's a couple of pieces that's quite nice and big, and so that they will use for either fire or some form of construction, something like that. Right, and then I'm going to show you quickly how the sheep enjoy it. Topic, I wanted to take this to the goats, and then I had to go and show people a house. Now I quickly want to show you what you can get in Namibia for $550 US dollars. Just hang on one second. And the reason I'm showing you this is just because I'm very curious about what you can get in your country for about $550 US dollars. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. 3 of the rooms are en suite. It's got a nice big yard. So I just quickly want to show you one of the bedrooms quickly. This is a typical bedroom. Bathroom like that. Nice modernish finishes. And yeah, obviously it's got nothing to do with the video. I'm just curious. I see most of my viewers are from the USA. Got 150 viewers as we speak, which is fantastic for me. 150 subscribers. But I quickly wanted to ask you, what can you get in your country for 150 bucks? Will you be able to get something like this, a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger? Anyway, let's go feed the goats. So I wanted to show you what the road looks like into our land. And so there you turn off the tar road. And while we're doing that, I want to give you some more information. So there's 25 species of Leucaena across the world. And they say if you plant Leucaena over 120 square kilometers of land, you can yield the same amount of energy as 1 million barrels of oil per year. Now earlier I talked about the nitrogen fixing, and I called it a fungi. I was wrong, it's a bacteria, and what it does is it takes the nitrogen out of the air, and with a chemical process it fixes it to the soil, and it's a very interesting process. See if I can post a link to somebody below. And that is what Jeff Lawton sort of focuses on. He plants these trees in permaculture food forests, and then they just cut off the branches every year, and that then gives the soil food in the form of top on the top, where you add the biomass on top. They call it chop and drop. It's something worth looking up. And then that also feeds the soil from below, where the roots shed, and those little nodules with the nitrogen where that bacteria lived, that gets shed as well. And so in that way you fertilize the tree, you fertilize the land. So I quickly want to show you these guys. Sorry, let me just come back. So this is our land here on the right, but I don't know if you can see them. I'll see if I can zoom in there. But bunch of guinea fowl disappearing there into the bush. Now they are fantastic little animals for controlling ticks, and when our children start hunting, you normally start hunting on those, but you only start hunting them when you're a child. Normally the grown-up people don't hunt them anymore, since they are actually very, very beneficial for the land. But most of the Afrikaans boys that I know, that was sort of their first thing to hunt. Let me just open the gate here, since my little handbrake doesn't work. I have to turn off the car. And so this is our land here. See if I can zoom out a little bit. A game fence, mostly to keep the 2-legged jackal out. We have a big problem with theft, and normally when the goats and the sheep hear my car, they start running closer. I want to walk in quickly and show you something. So there, I arrived here a couple of days ago, and there was this little lint in the tree, and that steel pole knocked into the ground with that white markings. So the government informed me that the land from there to there, they are planning on confiscating from me. Sorry, my English is sometimes terrible. And so, you know, I feel like, you know, land being taken from me, I'm sure I'll get compensated. Our corruption isn't that bad yet, but nobody can tell me yet why they want to take it and when they want to take it and how much we'll be compensated for it. The only thing is that I know is that it was a decision that was made without my consent. So turn the camera around, and so a decision that was made without my consent, and something that we'll probably have to live with. If they take that piece of land over the whole area of our land, then we will lose about 20% of our land. Anyway, okay, so this is my wife's arena. That is where she does all her jumping. She's got some kids for lessons today, and so it's still very, very basic. We only just started developing the land, and we were at the German Right Club here, and we decided that, you know, we really want to start doing something on our own land. So that is what we do. I'm sort of bumbling a little bit, but I thought it might be interesting to show you all of these things. So this is the stables that we built here. While I'm going closer, there's the kids learning about the horses there in the back, giving lessons to some of the local kids. And I see she is looking for me. This dog just showed up here one day, and so we sort of adopted him, and he sleeps now with my daughter in her bed. I didn't have a chance after the first night. I just adopted him, called Buxy. So that's a worm heap there, little greenhouse. And okay, I'm gonna stop this conversation now, and then I'll start again only when we're feeding the goat. Feeding time. So the reason why they didn't come running is because they were all locked up already. The guys came to lock them up. There's a little babies there in the back. So, and they are moaning because they know what's coming. So my son opened this. Dana, wees bietjie vir show them your kitty. So this is every Afrikaans boy who needs one of these, and especially if you grow up on a farm. So that's my boy, and so good. Let's take some of this, put it in here so you can see how much they like it. And they are a little bit scared of humans now, this bunch. There's a couple of them were harvested now in the last week, and obviously that's quite a traumatic experience when you catch them. And these ones can't be harvested because they've all got names. They belong to my mother-in-law. I think they're gonna die of old age here. It's a very, very sad story. And then we have some lambs whose mother died in the garage. So there, everything is off. Emmanuel, give it off, fella. It's another Emmanuel, so we've got two Emmanuels working for us. And this is our bushman. He just started now last week. Everybody still call him bushman. Bushman in Afrikaans. It's not called by his name yet. And so that's the ram there. You can see how they really like it. So you have to really control it to keep it at only 50% of their daily intake. That's one of the lambs that was orphaned, and so we with a bottle, and they still sleep in the garage. We've made them a house there, and so these ones are the ones that's taken out to be either sold or harvested. And yeah, I like sheep meat. Gooi maar nog bietjie, gooi maar nog bietjie. Ja, gooi maar nog bietjie. And I like sheep meat, but it's always quite a sad story when you made them fat and you had them grow up, and now you have to kill them to eat them. It's quite an honor to be able to be that close to your food, where you know exactly where it came from, and the children are part of it. They understand it, and so yeah, that's the end of the story. That's Mercy sitting there on the tree. She was working in the house the whole day. That's my wife and kids. This is some of the wood that was taken off from these trees, and then out here we get the small ones, the small twigs. We currently use them to protect our new prickly pear trees. Is that the right word? Prickly pear? What do you call it in your language or in your country? Like that. So we planted them all around, and they will bear fruit. And then here we used some of the native, some of the local thorn species, but it's a, I'm looking for the right word, invasive species. Sorry, invasive species we use as a fence. We cut them off and use them as a fence to protect the prickly pears, so the sheep don't kill them when they are still young. So the sheep kraal is there. That is placed for thieves, so they don't come in during the night. Those thorns, and then these thorns are placed for sheep, so they don't kill the prickly pears. Right, that's the end of my story. I hope you have a wonderful day.